Welcome to this Earnestly podcast. I'm your host, Ernest E.J. Christian, coming to you on recordings actually on a late Thursday night here in South Florida. On the line, of course, a good old friend from Fox Sports Radio in New Mexico, Steve Bortstein. Steve, what's up, man?
I am good, my friend. How are you?
It's been a while. It's been about a year. You're here. See?
I am. I was feeling a little slighted. I was feeling a little out of sorts. I thought maybe we'd broken up. That's kind of where I was going with that. I thought maybe you'd found another talk show host in New Mexico.
Oh, come No, of course not, man. You know things happen.
You're a busy man. I understand. You have needs. I understand. I do. Trust me. It's okay.
No, but I it's funny. Like when I came on your show a couple weeks ago, I felt bad because I literally was going to ask. Even before you asked me the day before to come on the radio show, I was going to ask you. Oh, yeah,
I know how that goes. No, really, I was going to call you, but you called me first. Trust me. I have broken up with enough people that I know all the lines, okay? You're good.
Well, what I've noticed, though, too, in the last couple of years when you come on this podcast, is that we always do the show pretty much around the spring. Like, I remember the first time coming to the show.
We do. I remember the first time I think I was on with you.
And in February.
Was right before the Kentucky Derby, I think it was.
Yes, it was. And there was another time we came on, I believe, right before Kobe's retirement, which was obviously in April.
Did we celebrate? No. Anyway.
You did, I guess, because you were I guess you move on from that era. I don't know, man. Let's start here first, though. Baseball. Because I love the fact that for the second year in a row, we had major free agents not commit to teams to the start of spring training. I love that. I think it's great. It makes baseball even more relevant, even in the months of the off season when football's going on, basketball's going on, and obviously today Bryce Harper signed his record deal, 13 years, $330 million, and no opt-out clause. That is insane, Steve.
What I think is most interesting is for all this talk about, loyalty, long-term deals, opt-out clauses, really what this came down to is he wanted more money than Giancarlo Stanton got. That's really all this was. He wanted more money than Stanton. So, in honor of you, and because I knew I was coming on tonight, I did the math. I did the math on this.
Okay.
Giancarlo Stanton's deal, when he signed with the Yankees a year ago, was 13 years, $325 million.
Right.
This is 13 years, $330 million, which, based on simple mathematics, means that Bryce Harper is going to get $1,000 more a day, per day, for the next 13 years. That's all this was. This had nothing to do with loyalty. This had nothing to do with wanting to feel secure with an organization. He's a money-grubbing loser who just wanted more money than Stanton. Good for you. That's cool. That's good. That's the capitalistic society. That's the market value. But don't ever tell me that he did this because he wanted security and he wanted to be with an organization that he wants to take to the World Series, because he couldn't care less about that. He wanted more money. That's it. I'm fine with that, but don't ever tell me that this or anything else that happens in the future, as far as contracts are concerned, has to do with loyalty. Because he's not loyal to this organization.
Right.
He's loyal to the money. That's all this is.
Well, a lot of folks are pretty negative about the deal. In fact, one of my buddies, Mark, was on the podcast yesterday. He's a big Dodgers fan like yourself, and he had heard initially that the Dodgers were the front runners last night again to get him, and he was pissed about it because he did not want to. He did not see the Dodgers as a team that should be going after Harper for the money that he wanted.
I think he's right, and I agree with that because. And I have another friend who's a big Dodgers fan, and he's a radio show host like myself, and he's upset that we didn't get Harper. And when I say we, I mean the general we of Dodgers fans.
Right.
So he's upset. He's upset because he was a big Puig fan. He's upset because he thinks this has been an off-season wasted. And I'm going to disagree with that. This has not been an off-season wasted. This has been an off-season in which we parted ways with a Manny Machado who, again, very much like Harper, is very much into himself. He's not into the idea of winning. He's not into the idea of being in a big city. He's not into the idea of being under that kind of hot lamp, that kind of intense light. And if he had been, he wouldn't have been in Baltimore for the last 8 years playing for a crappy, mediocre, underachieving, no expectations Baltimore Orioles team, and then completely crap on himself the minute he got to L.A., and then become the dirtiest player and the laziest player in the National League. There's no irony to Machado signing in San Diego because nobody cares about San Diego. The Padres are irrelevant.
Yeah.
There are two teams in the National League West, and I'm not even including the Rockies, who made a big splash signing Arenado. There are two teams in the National League West. There are the Dodgers, and there's the Giants. That's it. The Colorado Rockies are going to be a good team for a couple of years, and then they'll eventually go away like they always do. But the Padres, the Diamondbacks, the Rockies are fairly irrelevant. And that's why Machado will work well there. He'll do well there. They'll still win 75, 78 games and never be a major playoff contender. But to the point that your friend Mark said, I don't think this was a wasted off season to me. I don't think this was a bad off season. We get Corey Seager back. We lose Yasiel Puig, who was a cancer and needed a babysitter everywhere he went. And now we lose Machado, who was just a major pain in the ass. I'm fine with the way this team is structured now. Now, I want Corey Kluber in August. I want the trade deadline to give us that starting pitcher or that other guy in the bullpen that's going to put us over the top. I don't want to be the Buffalo Bills of baseball and get to the World Series 3 years in a row just to piss it away. Let's make this work.
Yeah, because right now you're treading those waters right now. Are you concerned about Kershaw, his latest injury?
I've always been concerned about Kershaw, more so now simply because now it's so much more, again, to the intense heat lamp, but I trust that he knows what time he needs and that he knows, what the recovery process is. I'm more concerned about the idea that the rest of the starting rotation doesn't hold up. If Buehler holds up, it's fine. If Maeda comes in, he does fine. Ryu, if those guys do their job, I'm okay. Because we're already in that age now where starting pitchers only have to go 6 innings. So you bring in Joe Kelly in the 7th and 8th innings, you bring in Kenley Jansen till his heart explodes, and then we're fine. That's kind of the way that works for the rest of the season. And so long as Kershaw can get his 20 games, 25 starts, 30 starts, whatever it might be, without, him going on the shelf for an extended period of time, I think we're okay. Let's be honest. The only reason the National League West came down to a tiebreaker was that Justin Turner missed the first 45 days of the season last year.
Right.
Otherwise, we win that division by 10 games. So I'm not worried about the core of that lineup. That lineup is fine. The pitching staff is what is now the major concern going forward. And I would have said the exact same thing about the pitching staff being a problem with or without Bryce Harper. That wasn't going to change simply because of Bryce Harper. We were always going to have an issue with our pitching staff.
Right. All right, let's switch to the NFL real quick. Your boy, Jason Witten's back in the NFL, back with the Dallas Cowboys, after his 1 year failed attempt at Monday Night Football color commentary. Now, I have to be honest with you. I would say my day job, but it's actually my night job. I don't get to listen to Monday Night Football commentary because even though I can watch the games at work, the volumes are down low, so I can't really hear what's going on. I hear on Twitter, what it says about the broadcast team of Tessitore and Booger Farland and Jason Witten, and every week I go on Twitter during the games, everybody's trashing it. The 1 week I had a chance to actually listen to the game, Witten was not. He was awful. Let's put it that way. Jason Witten's back in the NFL, 36 years old, tight end. Your thoughts?
I guess my first thought went to who's taking over the color commentary spot on ESPN. Honestly, that was my first thought. Like, I didn't even care. Okay, great, Witten's back. That's cool. Who's going to sit next to whatever the play-by-play guy's name is? I don't even know on ESPN. Because I don't. Okay,
Joe Tessitore.
Joey Tessitore?
He's not bad. He's not terrible though.
Okay. No, but this has always been my argument. You and I have talked about this before. The argument is always that the Monday night play-by-play team is awful. The CBS team is awful. The NBC team is awful. The Fox team is awful. Why do you have the volume turned up? If you're a smart football fan, you don't need the commentary. You know what you're watching. You've watched football games for insert number of years here. So you don't need the commentary. If you need something to bitch about the fact that your favorite football team's probably not that very good. Don't bitch about the commentary, because by that same argument, you can complain. This is when I go back to the day when people didn't want Phil Simms broadcasting Broncos games because there was some preconceived bias that Phil Simms was against the Broncos. No, he's not. He just doesn't give a rat's ass about your team. Okay? I've always been against the idea that the measure of a good play-by-play team is whether Twitter likes them. Because let's be honest, Twitter is a cesspool.
Oh, we can go all day on that one, definitely.
Right. We've done that before. Definitely. We've done this. So, I don't concern myself with the quality of the play-by-play team. But I was curious, who takes over the spot next to Joe Tessitore? Is it Greg Olson? Is it Jay Cutler? Because remember, there was a minute and a half there where Cutler had signed a deal with Fox before he decided to go back and remind everyone of what a crappy quarterback he is when he went back to the Miami Dolphins for a year.
That is true, yes. Is he still Fox, though, Cutler? Or is he unsigned currently?
He is unsigned. He didn't make a deal with anybody. When he had signed a deal with Fox,
right?
Then quit that deal to go to Miami Dolphins to go, be a horrible quarterback in Miami for an hour and a half. So I don't know if he's still under contract with Fox or not. But if he's not, ESPN should snatch him up.
I guess they should. I mean, he's definitely a. I don't know. I find him interesting, actually. Post football.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd be interesting. He's got a good vehicle. From what I understand, because I don't watch reality shows, his wife has a reality TV show. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, I am, thank God, unaware of that. So, I don't understand that. I don't get that. But okay. But I would think that would be a logical move. Get someone in there who's a quarterback. Because it is somewhat ironic that the best, I guess, according to social media, guys on television, former NFLers, were quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I guess Troy Aikman would be considered still pretty good at what he does,
and
now Tony Romo would be considered pretty good at what he does.
Romo's great.
So why not Jay Cutler?
Yeah. Romo's great, though. I like Romo.
I mean, that seems to make sense. Maybe we just don't hire tight ends because apparently they don't know when not to quit their day job and then go back to the NFL. # Jason Witten.
Well, Tony Gonzalez. He doesn't do play-by-play, but he's working media now. He's not terrible on.
And I don't know if he's good or not. I guess he's okay. I don't know. I mean, I don't like the idea that somehow we're basing the quality of a play-by-play team based on their relevance on social media. Like, to me, just if you're that bothered by the play-by-play team, your remote probably contains a button that says mute on it. Use that.
What do you make of this Robert Kraft story?
So, is it not every 77-year-old billionaire widower's dream to wake up on a Sunday morning, get yourself a little sexy down at the massage parlor, then get on your private jet, fly out to Kansas City, watch your football team win the AFC Championship, and then go home? Is that not the dream of every 77-year-old billionaire widower? Like, I mean,
I would assume so.
Right, and I would make the case here that. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Let me throw the question to you. Who's the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals? Off the top of your head, who is it?
Isn't it Mike Brown?
Okay. Who's the owner of the Minnesota Vikings?
That Ziga, what's his name? Ziga.
Ziggy Wilf. Okay,
Ziggy
so
Wilf.
you're among the 0.0004% of the world who knows who the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals and Minnesota Vikings are.
Yay.
Right?
Yeah.
99.99996% of the world don't know who those people are. But that 99.99996%, they all know who Bob Kraft is. Because he is the owner of the most polarizing, most popular, and most dominant team in the National Football League in more than a generation. So therefore, this story blows up. Because he's that guy. He's also he's a billionaire. He owns the Patriots. He's got ties, both financial and political, with arguably the most popular or polarizing president in our nation's history. And, by the way, the New England Patriots are also reviled by everybody because of, let's see, Spygate, Deflategate, the Tuck Rule. He's the owner of the most popular and most hated team in the NFL.
You're jealous of Tom Brady, Bill Belichick.
You're jealous of Tom Brady. You're jealous of the fact that they're champions 6 times, blah, blah, blah. If this had been the owner of any other NFL team, with the exception of the Dallas Cowboys. Because if this had been Jerry Jones, it's the same blowback.
Oh, no doubt.
But if this was Mike Brown, no one would care. Because you know why? Because the Cincinnati Bengals are irrelevant.
It's so true.
No offense to Bengals fans. If you're a Bengals fan, please don't write me hate mail. I'm sorry.
They'll
They'll
have to get over it. It's okay.
Right, just get over it. But if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you're irrelevant. So we make a big deal out of this story because he's Bob Kraft and because we hate the New England Patriots. Not me. I happen to love the New England Patriots, not because I'm a fan of the New England Patriots, but I love dynasties and I love watching people squirm and get angry and petulant because all they do is win. And that's supposed to be a bad thing, I guess. I don't know why. Right. We're supposed to hate them.
Well, I think a larger question is this, though. If Robert Kraft is found guilty of what he did, soliciting prostitution, all that, which apparently is a video of him doing in the act.
And aren't you excited to see that?
But if he's found guilty, I guess the biggest question is how should Roger Goodell and the league handle an actual punishment for Robert Kraft? That's the big question.
Suspend him for a year. He's out. He can't be at games. He can't have anything to do with the team. He turns it over to his kids or a trust for a year, and he goes away for a year. Because if you're going to punish Jim Irsay 6 games for what was arguably, well, not even arguably, I'm sorry, a man getting his sexy on in a massage parlor is not nearly as much of a horrific crime as what could have happened when Jim Irsay was popped for a DUI and possession. That could have been much, much worse. Right. So, but because he's Bob Kraft, and because Roger Goodell probably has a voodoo doll of Bob Kraft in his bedroom somewhere, and pricks pins into it every once in a while, I think Roger Goodell will throw the book at him. But by throwing the book at him, you're also not going to break up the Patriots. No one's doing that. Bart Scott said something earlier in the week that they should take away all the Patriots draft picks. Yeah, while you're at it, why don't we all just also set Gillette Stadium on fire? We're not going to do that. We're not going to break up the Patriots, but we're going to send a message that this kind of behavior is intolerable, blah, 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 and we'll suspend him for a year, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He won't be allowed at games, but, he'll still do things behind the scenes because they're the Patriots and they get away with everything. and it'll be $1 million fine, and the New England Patriots organization will send a lot of money to places that don't do sexy. So that way we look like we're doing something.
Sexy. That's great.
That's how I phrased it all week on myself. I just used the term sexy. 77-year-old multi-billionaire widower likes to get his sexy
exactly.
on. That's it.
Yeah.
If I'm 77 years old and I've got multiple billions of dollars, I'm going to go to a place to get my sexy on. I'm sorry, I am. Sue me, whatever.
What was it, rub and tug?
Yeah, rub and tug,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, you know? I mean, when you read the deposition, when you read the actual police report, the entire, I guess, transaction, let's call it that.
Right.
The entire transaction from door to door took all of 14 minutes. Which, if I knew that's all that was required of me in my personal life with my girlfriend, 14, that's all I need? I'm good?
Yeah.
The other 23 hours and 46 minutes of the day, I'm free and clear. Sweet.
All right. Where would you like to see Antonio Brown end up? Obviously, he requested a trade from the Steelers. They're going to grant him that most likely. At least that's what they said. Antonio Brown, another case study of frustration from me because, look, I don't mind that he wants to be free and go somewhere else. That's fine. But the way he's handled it, to me, in my opinion, has been, I've been very critical of the way he's handled everything on social media and whatnot.
I agree with the idea that he's handled it badly, but my God, who's the most dysfunctional coach-quarterback relationship in the league other than Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger? Because how many offensive coordinators have they gone through? How many teammates have they gone through? How many variations of Tomlin and Roethlisberger have we gone through where they just don't get along with anybody, it seems like, you know? And that's been an issue for me as well. And I guess if you're Antonio Brown, you want to look at a place that is not a work in progress, but a team that is close to being there. So my first instincts were Indianapolis. He's cousins with T.Y. Hilton, right? I mean, they're related, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The culture a team that is kind of right there or thereabouts, ready to win now. Andrew Luck had a renaissance year last year, so I look at them. I think they're a legitimate team. I don't think the 49ers are ready to win now, but the 49ers seem to be a hot franchise. If Garoppolo comes back and he's close to 100%, then you look at them a little bit as an interesting place. Why not Arizona? Okay, now I know this whole thing with the Cardinals is a mess. This Kyler Murray story, is Kingsbury going to draft him? Are they going to trade Josh Rosen? Because that's a gigantic, volcano ready to explode now, it seems like. But Arizona's an interesting prospect, because even if it's Josh Rosen, right? Okay, Larry Fitzgerald's 105 years old, so his time is up, but he's still a viable receiver who's going to get coverage. So Antonio Brown is the other receiver there. They're a team that, if you believe the idea that that's a team on the rise, why not there? If you want to stick it to the Steelers, hell, Baker Mayfield would love to have Antonio Brown, I guess, in that receiving core, but that's not going to happen because the Steelers won't let that happen. But I think Indianapolis, that's a team that you have to look at a little bit. I think if you're the Bears, aren't you looking for that other target for Mitch Trubisky? I mean, that would be a logical place. Also, if they wanted to, part with some pieces there, they've got the defense clearly. I think Chicago would be interesting. I think Seattle would be interesting.
How about the fact that Peter King suggested Carolina?
Carolina's great, but is Cam Newton 100%? Because if it's not Cam Newton, I don't know who the hell it's going to
be. I mean, you bring back Jake Delhomme. I'm just joking.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But I think if you're Antonio Brown, but to your other point earlier, like everyone's handled this wrong. Le'Veon Bell handled his situation wrong. Antonio Brown handled his situation wrong. Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger, they've all handled it wrong. Everyone in that organization needs like a serious course in proper work management, HR 101, because nobody seems to have any idea how to talk to anyone else in that building.
Yeah, I'm with you there, 100%. When I was on the show with you a couple weeks ago, it was after the first week of the AAF, of the Alliance American Football. We're now 3 weeks in. Ratings are still fairly solid. Now, a lot of things happened since we last spoke on the radio show. The week after we spoke, there was a report that came out that apparently the AAF needed some saving. There was a rumor that they were close to not making payroll apparently, and that
Right.
I guess Carolina Panthers owner I guess came not the Panthers. Who was it again? It was
Carolina Hurricanes.
Thank
Tom
you.
Dundon.
Tom Dundon,
Right. Tom Dundon, the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, came aboard with like a quarter of $1 billion or something.
Yeah, if
which,
you use $250 million.
You know what was funny about that story was I get clammy palms like if I think I'm coming up $20 short between paychecks. Imagine being the guy who runs the AAF, Charlie Ebersol, just calling up Tom Dundon and like, hey Tom, how you doing? Cool, how's the wife and kids? Oh, that's great. That's cool. No, we got nothing really planned next week, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I just thought I'd ask, can I borrow $250 million? Right? I mean, how do you make that phone call?
Yeah.
Like, that's the most awkward phone call ever. I mean, if I'm $20 short and I know I can't make it to the local bar down the road because I don't want to have to bum a beer off somebody, I just don't go. But I don't think they're going like, hey, can I bum $20 off you till the end of the week or something?
Yeah.
But like, this guy called up and legitimately asked Tom Dundon for $250 million, and Tom Dundon had it. Like, oh yeah, let me just wire that over to you right now. I mean, I was only going to use that $250 million to go meet my friend Bob Trout so we could go get some sexy, but that's okay. I'll forward it to you right now. We're good. So maybe the AAF, I mean, I get it. The AAF is an anomaly. It's a curiosity factor. And yes, they get decent television ratings and people enjoy watching bad football. Is that more them liking to watch bad football, or is it an indictment? And you and I had this conversation after opening weekend of the AAF. Is it that people like watching football, or is it an indictment against the NBA?
No, people like watching football. I think the first week, like I told in the radio show after week one, because I'm a bigger basketball fan than football fan, and yet I even chose the AAF over the basketball game because I was intrigued. Now, obviously, as I said to you also on the show, naturally the ratings will fall a little bit after week one because you take out the intrigue factor out of that after week one, but it's been solid so far, and I'm just curious to see how it goes through March when March Madness starts and whatnot, and even into April when we get to the NBA playoffs. That's
but
really
Golden
curious.
State played Houston last Saturday night. Golden State and Houston played.
That James,
and the AAF did okay.
And James Harden missed the game, actually, too. That's the record.
Okay, but generic fans didn't know that going into that game.
Right.
Generic fans didn't know that. And generic fans just hear Golden State and Houston, they're like, oh, that's the team that came down to a 7-game series last season in the NBA Western Conference Finals.
Right.
I should probably watch that. And I would think that even if you were just a generic casual fan, you're probably not just going to be like, oh, that guy James Harden's not going to play? Oh, shucks. I guess I'll turn that off so I can go watch the closest alternative to semi-pro football ever. Right? So I think there is this argument that can be made that the NBA is a little dry right now, that maybe this fascination that we have with the NBA, simply because it is dominated by one team right now. There's the narrative that no one's good in the Eastern Conference, only Golden State's good in the Western Conference, and no one can compete with them, so let's go watch this crappy alternative brand of football.
Yeah, that is what I'm hoping Kevin Durant leaves Golden State after the end of the year. I'm hoping he goes to New York.
See, I hope he goes to New York only just because let's finally get rid of the narrative that the Eastern Conference is bad, because, and for those of you who haven't watched this season, the Eastern Conference is fun. I love the Eastern Conference.
Me too.
This narrative of the Milwaukee Bucks is going to be great when they get absolutely annihilated by Toronto in the Eastern Conference. I love
prediction
Toronto.
Hey now, prediction.
Oh no, this is going to be that is going to be an ass kicking. Toronto's going to annihilate Milwaukee in that Eastern Conference. We haven't gotten to Philadelphia. Philadelphia can still turn that thing around too. Boston's a train wreck. I love the Eastern Conference because to me, the Eastern Conference is more intriguing than the West. We know how it's going to play out in the West. We know how it's going to play out. It doesn't matter whether Denver's number 2 or Oklahoma City gets their head out of their ass or Houston decides they want to show up or, God forbid, the Lakers. Do you really think the Lakers, do you really believe that LeBron James wants the 8 seed? Because that means a 4-game sweep to the Golden State Warriors. That is an embarrassment.
Yeah.
He'd rather miss the playoffs than get swept by Golden State.
But he won't get there likely get there in my opinion anyway. So he'll have to worry about that. I think Sacramento is really fun to watch, and I think they'll take care of business. They would need the Clippers to fall apart literally in this last month and a half.
Well, it is the Clippers. I mean, you know.
Well, yeah, they are the Clippers, but they're not the same Clippers though. Let's be real. This Clippers team's a lot more. Ever since Sterling left, ever since Donald Sterling lost his team, I feel like this team is a lot more respectable now. Like it feels like it feels like a real basketball team, real basketball franchise.
With the exception of Steve Ballmer, who's just insane. Can we just agree on that?
Yeah, he's a little out there, but you know what? Give me him over racist ass Donald Sterling. How about that?
Oh, I'll give you that. Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and by the way, Donald Sterling not only was he a racist, he was a horrible owner. He ran his team horribly.
Oh no, he was terrible. It's why if you ever lived in Los Angeles, I did for 17 years. You went to Clippers games so you could cheer for the opposite team. That was the fun part of going to Clippers games. You couldn't get into a Laker game unless you wanted to, sell a child or give up, a limb. You couldn't get into a Lakers game. So you went to Clippers games so you could watch better teams.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go sports a little bit. Did you watch the Oscars last week?
I did. I watched all but one of the, I believe it was 9 films that were nominated for Best Picture. And ironically, the one I didn't watch is the one that I had the most access to for months. I didn't know that Roma was a Netflix thing.
Was it really?
I didn't know that until the night before. I just thought it was a regular movie. I thought it was one of those, prissy little art movies that just didn't show up in Farmington. And then one day I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, it's been on my Netflix for the last 4 months. Now I feel like a moron. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't win Best Picture because then I would have...
Don't feel bad because even myself, who's a big-time movie, TV guy, I had no idea Roma was a Netflix movie until literally a couple days ago.
Yeah, I had no idea. When I saw one of the major players in the movie won an award, and they were like, oh, thanks to Netflix. And I looked at my girlfriend, and I'm like, wait, was that on Netflix? And she's like, it came out on Netflix. So I'm like, oh, that's why I didn't see it in the theaters.
Right.
Oops. I feel bad. The movie that I wanted to see win Best Picture was The Favorite. It was a beautiful film. Mm-hmm. It was amazing. I had no problem with Green Book. Green Book was a good movie. It was. It was a really good movie.
I need to see it.
I highly recommend it. I do. It was a wonderfully well-acted movie. And I never know how to say that guy's name. Maheresh. Yes. Oh my God. He is truly one of the best actors in the last 10 years. Go back, not even this movie, not even Moonlight that he did a couple of years ago. His work on this season of True Detective, which wrapped up this week.
House of Cards.
Go back. Go back to House of Cards.
Yeah.
This guy's great. He's literally one of the best actors we've had in the last 10, 15 years. He's amazing.
And he's well-rounded, too. He plays sports. He has sports background, too, on top of that. Played basketball, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very well-rounded.
So, he's a really, really amazing actor. So, I give him all the credit in the world. He deserves the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Overall, I thought it was okay. I didn't care much for and I guess because I'm just tired of the politically nonsensical stuff that we get on every broadcast now, but does everything have to be a movement? Literally, does every single thing have to be, the plight of insert plight thing here? Does everything have to be about it? I'm just so over it.
What are you referring to? Which movie?
No, every person that got up on stage, we're being repressed. So-and-so's being repressed. I'm sorry, did Spike Lee really need to go there? Did the woman who won Best Supporting Actress, did she really need to go there? Can I have one award show where I'm just not reminded of what an absolute crap storm our world is right now. Can I have one?
Yeah, that's a lot to ask for, unfortunately, right?
I know. And before we veer off to your next topic, I do want to, in the politically correct vein, for a moment, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
You are still allowed. EJ, you are, and your listeners are still allowed in Major League Baseball to refer to the designated players who get injured. You are still allowed to refer to it as the disabled list. You do not have to buy into Major League Baseball's weirdness of, well, we can't call it the disabled list anymore, Steve, because that's a negative connotation for disabled people. Because I've been covering sports for 30 years now, and at no point in time did I ever think to myself that, wow, I should really compare the plight of a guy who's got an elbow injury and can't pitch for 30 days, that I'm comparing him now to someone who is actually physically, emotionally, or mentally disabled. I never did that, and nor did anyone else. So you are still allowed to refer to it as the disabled list. You don't have to call it the injured list like Major League Baseball wants you to.
Well, there you go. And by the way,
that's my PSA moment
we actually
today.
discussed it on your show a couple weeks ago about this very topic. You and I have very similar feelings about the PC world and all that. Believe me, you and I share a lot of the same opinions on that. So, but back to the Oscars quick though. Did you I heard a lot of positive feedback on the no host thing, and I said on my podcast a couple days ago that maybe they should do this again next year.
The only awkward part of it was the end, because Julia Roberts was standing there like, well, what do I do now? Like she had to close it because she was the one who presented Best Film, so someone had to close out the show.
Say bye.
So she was kind of standing there just going, hey, I guess we're done now. So that was awkward. But other than that, I didn't have a problem with the no host thing. I understand that we're supposed to have a host for these things. Why?
Yeah, true.
Why do we have to have a host? I mean, it seemed that it went off without a hitch, and let's be honest, since every single person in creation has done something horrible when they were 14 years old, that apparently makes them the worst person on the planet, so let's just not have anyone do anything anymore, since someone, wore a costume to a party when they were 11, and now that they're 50, we have to hold that against them. Or someone said something on Twitter or in a text message when they were 16, and now they're 45, so we need to hold that against them now. I did a lot of bad things when I was a teenager. I did. Let me confess. I did a lot of horrible things when I was a teenager. Therefore, I'm not running for Congress. I am planning on never running for any sort of public office of any kind, because I know that there's some angry ex-girlfriend out there who I probably said something mean to when I was a teenager, and she's going to come back now that I'm approaching 50, and she's going to ruin my career. So let me just say right now, I have no intention of running for any public office of any kind.
For now.
Right. Because you never know. The radio career might end soon, and I might just need a gig. I get it. Right.
No, hope it does not end soon. What are your latest TV binges? I'm throwing it back in your face now. I know you told me that, threw that me a couple weeks ago. Throw that at you now. Latest TV binges. I'm still surprised, by the way.
All right. So, Haunting of Hill House was phenomenal.
Right.
Haunting of Hill House was phenomenal. I've kind of gone weird on reruns now. I don't know why, and I don't know why it took me so long to find Law and Order SVU. I don't understand why it took me so long. But I come home now from the gym on a Thursday or Friday, and I am right in front of my Sundance channel, whatever, because they do day-long marathons of Law and Order and Law and Order SVU. And I am fascinated. I never watched it when it was on the air. I missed all of it. I don't know why, I just did. But now it's I watch Law and Order SVU now for inspiration, just to see what kind of sick crap someone thought of,
Well, I mean, is it one of those shows anyway that doesn't need a storyline. It's episode by episode. I mean, kind of like Seinfeld.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't really need to follow it in detail.
But I just never did, and now I can't get enough of it. So I've been watching that a lot lately. As far as new stuff is concerned, I got really into, I'm really excited about The Handmaid's Tale, the new season coming of Handmaid's Tale.
Right.
I got all caught up on that.
I started that show, but I never finished it.
Yeah, you need to. It's brilliant. There was a movie that was on Netflix a while ago, but it was kind of like a 5-part anthology thing called was it The Legend of Bugsy Scruggs? I think it was. It's a Joel and Ethan Coen thing. It was beautiful. It was really well done. But like I said, I got really caught up on the Law and Order thing. I got really caught up on that and pro wrestling. Like, I watch a lot of pro wrestling.
Current or old?
Both.
See, I watch old. I'm an old school cat. I can't get into
that. If I'm scrolling through Facebook and I find some old, Ric Flair clip, because Ric Flair just celebrated a birthday.
Yeah.
I probably spent a half an hour watching old Ric Flair Sting matches.
I'm the same way too.
From their days at WCW.
I'm the same way too. Absolutely. I'm the same. I'm the exact same way. Like, and if I stick a Macho Man one, for example, I'll turn on the network and say, okay, let's throw on some old Mania 3, Mania 4, Mania 5. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm the same thing. And then I've really been fascinated by the way the WWE is handling the absolute train wreck that is Ronda Rousey, because she's terrible.
Really?
She's a bad pro wrestler. She doesn't know how to do moves properly. She's terrible on the mic. I mean, everything about her is a train wreck. And
so she's also
apparently she's about to be done. Like, apparently, this upcoming WrestleMania will be her last match. Maybe forever, maybe just for a year, whatever. But she's god-awful at the pro wrestling thing.
She can't be fixed at all, you don't think?
I don't think she wants to be. I think she wants to have kids with her boyfriend / former wife beater, Travis, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Travis Brown, which ironically no one seems to talk about that, but that's okay. But I didn't really mean to bring that up either. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, she wants to have kids apparently, so she may be done, and that's why you'll probably see Becky Lynch get the title at WrestleMania. That she and Charlotte Flair can rival for 6 months. But yeah, I don't know if she can be fixed. I don't know if there's time to fix her, but she's god awful, both on the mic and in the ring.
Why am I shocked? I don't know why. I haven't seen her in there, but I'm shocked that she's really as bad as you say she is. Yeah, and you're pretty honest.
I mean, she's physical. She has a great physical presence in the ring. She does, but like her promo shoots are bad. Her way of speaking is she's not in tune with the crowd at all. Like when she first got there, they loved her, and now the crowd doesn't pop for her at all.
Really?
And that's a big thing. Like if you know this, watching wrestling as long as you have, if the crowd's not into you, they're never going to get into you. They're just not.
Like that saved Ultimate Warrior, because Ultimate Warrior was horrible in the ring. He was. I mean, his promos was pretty much, him being nutty, but he popped with the crowd. And that saves you, yeah. And that's what happened to, one of the really good wrestlers in WWE is Shinsuke Nakamura. But he's terrible on the mic, and the crowd doesn't pop for him like they used to. They did in the beginning, but he can't speak. No one understands what he's talking about, and the crowd doesn't get into him anymore. That's why he's relegated to mid-level status now in the WWE, because it just doesn't pop with the crowd. And that's what's happening to Ronda Rousey. She's terrible on the mic. All right.
That's 90% of it. That's at least 90% of it. You got to be able to pop with the crowd, and she just doesn't.
Yeah, I agree with 100%. Last thing, let you go. Last thing. When do we get the next 2 album? Because yet another delay.
I am under the impression that it is a summer release for 2 reasons. Number one, it's a late summer release, and here's the reason why. And I'm a nerd and a geek for knowing this. wait for this. This is something that a lot of people don't know. Between the months of March and August is the prime growing season and vineyard season in Arizona.
Okay.
Maynard's Vineyard, which is located in Jerome, Arizona, will be doing a majority of its work in processing the 2020 wines for Caduceus Vineyards and the Merkin Vineyards that he operates.
Okay.
The album is probably done, and so they will go into the mixing thing now, produce it, get it all mastered by August, and then in September, you'll see them on a national tour because he won't have to be at the vineyards anymore. Because the man's obsessed with the wine thing, which is weird because if you had told me when I first found Tool when I was 23 years old and I was angry at the world and I needed an outlet and this band from Oakland, California screamed really loud at people, if you would have told me in 1993 that 26 years later I'd be talking about Tool not doing an album because we need to wait for their wine to get done, I would have laughed at you. But that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for Maynard's wines to get done. Hey. Which goes against everything about them being angry, antisocial, anti-everything. I love the band, don't get me wrong, I do. But if I have to spend another hour at the gym listening to one of the other 5 albums that they did in its entirety, I'm really starting to lose it now. Because I've heard Anima, Undertow, Opiate, 10,000 Days. I've heard them all 76,000 times now. I'm ready for something new.
Only?
Please, by God, give me something new.
Only 76,000 times?
Only. Probably. That's an estimate. There may be more.
At least they,
and don't get me wrong. Like I love the band. I will always love the band. And I became a fan of Pucifer. I became a fan of Perfect Circle. And if you haven't heard the new A Perfect Circle album, Eat the Elephant, I highly recommend it. It is beautiful. Okay. It is exquisite. Eat the Elephant is an exquisite album. It came out several months ago. It came out several months ago, but it was the last A Perfect Circle album. It came out earlier. It came out like late 2018. It is exquisite. It is beautiful. It is extraordinary in all ways that are Maynard. But it's not Tool. And I've already told my boss, like the week it comes out, I'm taking that week off. I'm buying 2 copies, 1 DVD. I'm going to buy 2 CDs, one for the house that will never get touched, and one just for me. I'm going to put my headphones on, and I'm going to lay on the floor. I'm going to get high, and I'm going to enjoy the album. That's it. I don't care about anything else. I'm just going to do those things, and I'm going to interpret every lyric 9,000 times in a row.
Man.
Can I say I'm going to get high? Is that okay? Like, I don't get in trouble for that?
Really? You think I care? I mean, don't worry.
I'm just saying. I mean, you know. I know we've talked before, like, I need to be more edgy on podcasts, but I get weird. My bosses might be listening.
You need to say the word fuck more, but you don't say it. So
actually, I can't do that. No, I'm not doing it. Can't do it. I enjoy the fact that on my paycheck every 2 weeks, it says iHeartMedia. I do.
No, and I'm with you. I guarantee you, I know for a fact you do talk that way off air. Oh
yeah. When you and I were talking privately, I'll drop the occasional F ball,
Yeah.
I'll drop the F on like every other word.
Yeah.
But when I'm with friends and whatever, I mean, you don't want an FCC, 7-second delay button around me when I'm just in private conversations. But I represent the largest media group in the world in iHeartMedia, and we love everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and in my case, like I'm a sailor, but I have to hold back during the day when my kids are awake because I don't want to be transferring that kind of behavior to them. So when when I have like my wife and I have this thing in the house where we call it G time, like it's G-rated time, which means it's all about the cartoons and kids shows and making sure they're fed, they have cookies, all that, and then once kids are asleep, we have R-rated time. Yep.
I get that. I do. Yeah. I understand that completely.
Once the kids are asleep, my wife and I are fucking like fuck.
Yeah, that's that's me with my friends at the bar, right? I mean, that's what when I go out, and that's what I also tell people, like, who will want to just come up to me. They don't listen to the show, but they're like, oh, you're the sports guy. And then they want to ask me 17 sports-related questions.
You want to hear that,
when I'm out with friends. And my response is always, and always will be, I'm on the air 3 hours a day. You have complete access to me. And you want to bring this up now at 4 in the afternoon? No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I had the same issue with some of my friends too. Like, oh, we didn't want the Celtics this week. I'm like, oh, enough already, please. This is a podcast.
Yeah.
This is a podcast. Thank you.
Listen to the podcast. Let's, listen to someone else's show. You have access to me for 3 hours. I take phone calls. I do. I give out the phone number. Call me. I'd love to talk to you and then tell you that you're wrong. Like, that's my job.
Anyway, you can follow Steve on Twitter at Fox1340 AM. He's the host of First Sports on Fox Sports New Mexico. Steve, it was fun as always, man. Loved it.
It is my pleasure, as always. Go Dodgers in 2019. Go LA Dodgers. And this weekend, if you're betting on horse racing this weekend, watch the Fountain of Youth Stakes this weekend in South Florida at Gulfstream Park. It's a cool race. The horse that's probably going to be the favorite is a horse called Hidden Scroll. And if he wins the Fountain of Youth this weekend, you might want to think about him as a Derby horse.
Okay. And this weekend, is that right? This Saturday?
It's this Saturday at Gulfstream Park, race 13, I believe it is, at Gulfstream Park. I don't have the number because they drew post positions this morning, but check out race 13. It's the Fountain of Youth Stakes at Gulfstream Park. Look for the name Hidden Scroll. He won his first race like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago and won by the length of the grandstand. He was amazing. And if he repeats that effort this weekend, this Saturday, he's probably going to be one of your favorites for the Kentucky Derby.
And it's Gulfstream down in Florida, of course.
Down near Miami, Florida, yes.
Yeah, minutes from my house, I know.
There you go.
Steve, thank you as always, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, my friend. Have a great week. And
you
we'll
too, man.
talk
Take
soon.
care, man. Thank you.